All right, let's go ahead and get started. You guys had a chance to look over the minutes and the agenda?
Yes.
And when you're ready, I entertain a motion to approve minutes and agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Heather, I second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are approved. We'll move on to public comment. John, have you heard anything?
Nope.
All right. Then on to staff reports. Amy, you're up.
Okay. Just kind of go through each area of the departments. Our Wood Lake team kind of this past month has been really involved with Halloween. They had a really successful half haunted Halloween, and they used the format where people could pre-register for time slots with a maximum of 25 people per slot, and that really kept the numbers at a level where people could easily social distance, and it didn't feel crowded at all, and there was nice breaks in between. So that went really well. They had so many people that like to attend that event that couldn't get in with the limited number. So they had a second event actually on Halloween. That went really well. And they also had been doing some after school programming where students come to Wood Lake and there's just different outdoor activities they've been doing, which has been super nice for those students to get out and exercise and learn and do some hands-on stuff at Wood Lake. And then they also been working on, if you've walked at Wood Lake lately, you'll see a lot of cages around plants, but they got a forest grant and they're restoring an area of forest. So they've been going through the process of pulling out invasive species, planting a diversity of native species, and then protecting it from deer by putting some fencing up. So they've been working with that grant project. And we also have a grant from the Minnesota DNR through the Legacy Grant, called the Conservation Legacy Grant. And it's really for work in our South Prairie. So they had the Conservation Corps of Minnesota out doing work in the prairie. So kind of a mix of events, programming, and then resource management. The arena's been really busy with ice time. I think with more people having some flexible time in the day, we've had a record number of people for open skate, open hockey, so much so that to accommodate the amount of people coming, we've gone from one time slot with 25 people max to now two time slots of 45 minutes, kind of dividing up the time slots so we can accommodate twice as many people with COVID restrictions. We do host, as I'm sure all of you know, the Magicians, and their home opener got canceled a few weeks ago. They were playing a team from North Dakota. I think 17 of their players had tested for COVID. And so, of course, they didn't come here. So the home opener got canceled. But the arena, though, is busy. They've also been wrapping up the refrigeration project. So the actual refrigeration project is completely done. The roof aspect is done. We're starting the HVAC, and we're wrapping up the ADA bathroom component. So I think the whole thing should be done, I think, by the end of the first week of December. And when it's safe for people to gather, we definitely would love to have the commission, council, anybody who's interested come see the work that was done to improve the arena. And then at the community center, we started allowing some very small groups of people, like 8 people at a time, coming for like a sit and stretch class, things like that. And then last week we pulled back on a lot of that, but we've been doing some mitigated programs, some virtual stuff. We're doing a fun program next week. It's a gratitude walk, a mindfulness journey around Richfield Lake. So we're getting that ready. But when we do the COVID update, I can kind of explain the shift. We opened up the dog park a few weeks ago, and it was really nice to get that in we had a beautiful 60-degree day for November. That was awesome. And so far it's been going really smooth out at the dog park. And then we also had our first farmers market at the community center 2 weeks ago. Here we had, I would say, less than 100 people. So it wasn't super crowded, but we're very limited in how many people can come in at one time with COVID. And now, I'll report on it next, but we've had to pull back from that a little bit. But staff right now is doing a mix of working from home when it makes sense, but definitely coming in and doing outside work or work that needs to be done in the office, coming in kind of a limited basis. We're kind of doing a hybrid approach with that. But I'd say overall, that's my staff report on what the landscape's like in recreation.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
And moving on to our discussion items. It's our COVID-19 update.
Yeah, so all of you know COVID is raging right now, and Richfield's at the center of it. We have extremely high numbers in Richfield right now. If you look at the whole state, we are towards the top. So in looking at the numbers and the trajectory, it was safest. We decided last week to pull back from all in-person programming for really safety of staff and safety, obviously, of residents. So that really included everything outside of the ice arena. So we are going back to an approach where we are going to be doing some self-guided programming, such as the gratitude walk, some virtual programming. We're starting back up with our book club. We're looking at some virtual dances, maybe a virtual visit from Santa, just some different ideas like that for the month ahead. We are fully expecting the governor to make his announcement. I think it's tomorrow night at 6. That will impact programming at the ice arena. I'm not sure exactly, what he's going to do, but our suspicion is it will be a full pause of youth sports and most sports in general, probably through the end of the year. And just depending on how we flatten this wave of COVID, it could be extended into 2021. So, we'll have to see what comes tomorrow, but I think we'll respond as needed. I'm not sure when they will take effect, but I think this weekend we do have a hockey tournament. We have closed locker rooms, and we have a pretty tight mitigation plan that we haven't had a lot of compliance issues that some of the other cities have seen, such as Bloomington and Edina. And speaking with their recreation directors, they've had a lot of compliance issues with parents and skaters, which has really been tough for their staff. So, I think moving into the winter, we are in the thick of the pandemic. I think we're going to just continue to err on the side of safety as we move through probably the next couple months of this. Just making sure staff and residents are safe in what we do. So I think obviously not having people gather in indoor spaces, I'm sure the guidelines will impact outside skating as well. So I'm doubtful we'll be opening up warming houses because they're pretty small spaces, but we hopefully will be able to flood rinks, and we'll be building some benches for people to put skates on outside. But definitely COVID's affected every single department in the city, just as I'm sure it's affected a lot of your workspaces. Either people exposed, contracted it, family members have it. It's definitely having a lot of impacts, I would say. I know. Any questions at all about COVID?
Yeah. What about Wood Lake, the snowshoe and ski rental there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to talk about that at Winter Rec program section.
Okay.
So I'll come back to it if you don't mind.
Okay. That's fine.
Any other questions about COVID?
But the plan is for ice to still go in outside, just no warming houses? Okay.
Yeah. Yep. That's the plan so far. As soon as the weather, looks like we're in a cold stretch where they will hold the ice, I think Public Works has said they're ready to go for the
Good.
year.
Okay.
So we are working to get those benches built so people have a space to put on skates.
Okay.
Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is our Richfield, kind of our active youth grant that we are working through from the county. The funds, have to be requested by the end of the year. So the whole department is working on the proposals we put in and making sure that we're not leaving money out there in the grant. We're trying to think of programming that could be supported through the grant. So I just wanted to let everyone know that we've been able to, in the last month, pay for our videographers from the summer for all the virtual rec. We've been able to get our own camera equipment, so we're not borrowing our communications department. We've been able to purchase an equipment rental tent. Some of the contractors we've worked with, like yoga instructors, dance DJs, that kind of thing, has all been funded through the grant. So we'll continue to utilize that and hopefully not leave any funds unused for that. And then winter rec programming, as we move into the thick of winter and probably what I'm assuming will be one of the tougher parts of the pandemic, we're definitely wanting to keep people safe, kind of number one, but then also keep people engaged, active, make sure we're providing programming that supports that sense of community and wellness. So instead of having any in-person programming really with mitigation, we're going to focus on the self-guided and virtual. So we are anticipating we'll do snowshoe and ski rental at Wood Lake, and we're working through the details right now how that will play out. And I think we are leaning towards utilizing a big tent that we bought and set up next to the building, and it has walls. And inside there is where people would get their equipment. And it would be a pre-registration, pre-pay, so there's no money transaction when you come out. You would just go to the tent. We'd have a clipboard of who's renting equipment, let's say from 9 to 10:30. You would get your equipment, put it on, and go out and snowshoe or ski. And that way, we have a limited amount of equipment. We can make sure we have the equipment there for who's registered for it. And then we want to make sure we schedule in time to sanitize the equipment as well, the touch points, and kind of let it sit for a little while. So I am happy we'll be able to do that. We're kind of working through our mitigation plan with what that will look like. As I noted, I probably won't have warming houses open. We went and measured the space, and at most we could have 6 to 7 people in a warming house. And part of the mitigation is really making sure everyone has their masks on when they're inside. But it would be very hard to ask someone to sit inside a warming house for hours at a time. And they don't have great ventilation. And so it's not a good scenario with COVID. So I think what we're going to do is, as we mentioned, is flood rinks and have a space to put on skates. If something drastically changes, we'll respond, but I think that's kind of where we're headed with outdoor skating, just to keep people safe. Joe, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was wondering with that and the revenue that we use for running those warming houses, I've been to Austin, Texas, and they put up these really cool parks for like food trucks or events. And I've seen around Minneapolis that they're putting up these warming, these single warming igloos kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any interest in doing something like that as an event?
Possibly. I think if we get through like the worst part of the pandemic, because we can have ice really as long as the conditions allow for it. So maybe end of January, February, we could look at something like that. That would be neat.
Okay. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. That would be neat. As a team, the rec team, we've been brainstorming program ideas. I think people are finding a really neat mix of programs to really serve the whole community the best we can right now with the restrictions. So things like virtual kids yoga, senior stretching that they can do from home with an instructor that would be virtual. Book clubs. We looked at potentially purchasing some sleds and doing a sledding event outside at Augsburg. Virtual visit from Santa Claus. Like just doing some things to help make the next month and a half, a little bit more cheery for people to keep them active. I think through the grant too, we will have some ski and snowshoe passes for students that we'll be able to give out so kids can come ski and snowshoe for free this winter.
Couple questions, Amy. One, Mary Kay and I were talking about some Voyager curling events. I assume.
I'm sorry, you cut out.
Okay. So Mary Kay and I have been talking about planning some Voyager curling events. I'm assuming those won't be able to happen now.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Public health, I did check in because we do an adapted ski and snowboard program from mid-January to mid-February out at Highland. And I'm at that point in the process where I need to find volunteers and get it organized with staff. I asked them yesterday, should we just cancel it? And they said, no, don't cancel it. Like start planning it. And hopefully, the curve will start to come down and maybe at the middle to end of winter, we'll be able to do something. And I think if we have a good mitigation plan for the Voyager curling, we hopefully will be able to do something.
Okay.
I'm optimistic.
Good. Mm-hmm. And then, will there be any limitations on, well, that's probably a moot point, but I'm going to say hockey teams using the outdoor ice, but if there's a pause on youth sports, that's not going to matter anyway.
Right.
But that doesn't matter.
Yeah. I'm not sure how long it will last. I'm hearing kind of through the end of the year, into January, and I'm not sure, beyond that if it'll be extended. We'll have to see.
And a couple years ago, we were looking at possibly lighting Augsburg Park. It's kind of a winter walk kind of thing. One of the ideas we tossed around was getting families to make like ice globe luminaries that they'd bring and leave in the park. We could light up, just create a lighted walk through the park. And if there'd be a way to do that as some sort of, community event, doesn't require a large group to gather, but might be kind of fun, something different to do.
Yeah, we did talk about as a staff doing kind of more regular luminary walks. And we tend to just do them at Wood Lake, but we've talked about potentially bringing luminaries to like Vets Park or Richfield Lake. And on a Friday or Saturday night, have people out just socially distance walk through the park and have the luminaries lit because we do have quite a few luminaries.
Okay.
Cool. Augsburg would be really pretty with those oak trees.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Nighttime is so long now, so I mean,
yeah, I like it. I think that's an idea that we'll be able to do something with.
Cool.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Heather had an idea of some way we could get the commission involved with kind of a need right now. So maybe I'll have you explain it, Heather, what you were thinking.
Sure. Thanks. Yes. Thanks, Amy. I know just obviously we're all aware of the very interesting times, that we're having right now. And I know there's, just everywhere in general, people are having a hard time, whether they're getting laid off or this, that, or the other. And so I know that we're kind of getting close here to the holidays and that kind of thing. And with that in mind, I'm wondering if there's any way that we as a commission could step up and possibly do some kind of a toy drive or food drive. I know, there's Amy suggested I talk to Veep a little bit, and so there's a possibility of partnering with them with if we want to do a food drive. I know a toy drive would be really cool if there's a way. The big, kind of conundrum here, of course, is we're getting close to the holidays already. We need manpower, we would need capacity, we would need kind of, people to help organize and, make it happen. But I just kind of wanted to put this idea out there. I know it's very possible some of you have done things like this. I'm a project manager, so I'm pretty organized as a person and happy to kind of, help with some of the logistics. But what are thoughts around this? Like, does anyone have any ideas or thoughts? Just kind of
Yeah, Heather,
off the top of your head.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
The Marines always does Toys for Tots. That's the biggest premier
Yeah.
program. So I guess I'd look to them first to see if they're going to proceed with that this year as maybe a guidance whether we should. And
Yeah.
instead of competing with them, maybe we just somehow facilitate that program in Richfield if we can.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good idea. And maybe we can kind of, if that's something that we can do, then we can kind of push it and kind of see it. Like, I know, Amy, you probably have more to say on this, but maybe we can publicize it and that kind of thing in the city pages and maybe start, providing, maybe if nothing else, we can see if Veep would be willing to put slips in their bags of food or something like that so that people find out about it that way too and something. Because I've seen plenty, of needs asked, whether it's, people that I know or, just people on the community page, this, that, and the other. And I think this could be a way for us to kind of help our city, as a lot of people are struggling. So.
What about a drive-through drop-off event, like at Betts Park? Just drive through the loop, drop stuff off, and
Yeah.
drive on out. Oh, will the tree lot be there this year?
It will. So that's definitely an option. And that, like, with our buildings closed and the arena potentially being impacted by these closures coming, the tree place will stay open. So that's an option. We could also do kind of like what you're saying, like even just some sort of drive-through, like have a designated date and time. Like we could staff, a spot where people could drive through and put food items or I don't know whatever we decide out there. That would be easy.
Veep seems to make it very easy if we want to do food. I'm all for either. I want to do something that helps, but I will say Veep has said they do not have the wherewithal this year to do toys. They've done it in the past. They're focusing on housing and food right now, just with the way that things are. So, but what I can do is reach out, like you had suggested, Art. I can reach out to Toys for Tots, see what they say, and then, and I like that idea of a drive-through too, because, sorry, Joe. I like the idea of a drive-through just because it's just, way more convenient. Joe, I'll let you speak. Sorry.
No, it's all good. It's your idea. So the last, I think, 4 years, I have set up 4-foot tall inflatable turkeys in my front yard with Rubbermaid containers, and people can just drop stuff off, right?
Oh.
So without having a cost from the city, we could just maybe do a marketing campaign of saying, hey, give them a challenge of gathering food, or, like I saw the Santa letter where it's a template, give them a template to say, okay, let us know. And then maybe do like just tag houses that are collecting food on Google Maps or something. And that would cost us a lot less than doing something more elaborate. So, I mean, I've collected 500 pounds of food for Veep for Thanksgiving by just throwing out 5 Rubbermaid containers and having 4 turkeys, blow up turkeys in my front yard. So, I mean, I don't know, just an idea.
Yeah. I like that idea too. I live right by the Historical Society too. I wonder if they'd be willing to be a drop off. Otherwise, my place is a fairly corner. It's fairly easy to do something like that too. So
We get, like,
what?
the toys. What are we going to do with them?
Yeah, that was kind of what Amy and I had mentioned too, because getting them is one thing.
Right.
Finding who need, I think, maybe this is something, for next, but like Art said, we can kind of see what Toys for Tots is doing, if anything. And come to think of it, I have not, well, I don't go anywhere, so I guess I wouldn't see any bins or anything. So I was gonna be like, I haven't seen anything this year, but where am I going? What am I doing? Nothing. But my husband actually works at a grocery store, so I could ask him if he's seen them too. So, so maybe I'll start there, and just see how realistic the toys idea is. Now, we're not really going to meet next month, so how do we kind of move it from here? Amy, you know the rules better than me, and I don't want to, form an illegal group or whatever. But how,
Yeah, I think I would have to communicate out with everybody. I can talk with people kind of one-on-one. I don't know. I know we can't kind of meet in small groups outside of this to discuss.
Well, Amy, you can send a mass email out to us. We just can't reply all.
Yeah.
Okay.
To have a conversation that way. And then if a bunch of us are going to be together for this event, if the date is publicized that we're doing that, we're okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just the planning part of it. And we could set up some parameters tonight.
Okay.
We're okay with, and then if we can put an event together within those parameters, we can give
I think
it
it's until I can.
Food, I think, would be easier than toys. Like, I like the idea of toys because I know a lot of families are hurting right now. But just thinking about the exposure and getting toys out to people and the logistics this short of notice would be hard. But I do like Joe's idea. If we kind of created maybe a map of Richfield where people could drop off food for Veep, we could utilize, if city sites are closed, we could utilize places that could use some traffic, like local routes, maybe the lobby of a few other small businesses. Like, we could put some totes in there with a sign or something and maybe create a map of yards and locations people could drop off food this year.
Yeah.
We could have a city goal, like our goal is X amount of pounds of food before Christmas Eve or something like that.
Yeah.
It would be fun. It would be fun to do. So what I did was I built out a sign that is, I don't know, 3-4 foot wide, 2-3 foot tall, with my mom, who painted just like a goofy turkey and said "food drive drop off" on it, and I made my niece and nephew project managers every other year. So I said, okay, how are you going to set up the turkeys and how are you going to set up the bins? And obviously I kind of directed them, but it's just kind of a fun thing. So I don't know if we could find a partner to just do signs, like you have the political signs that you put in your yard. Maybe say, hey, we're offering food drop off signs. You can pick them up here, and then collect food and donate it to Veep by this date or something. I don't know. It's just like just me, myself. I got 500 pounds of food for people that need it in less than a month. So if we could do some sort of marketing campaign, I don't know what the city has available for marketing. I mean, I could help. I'm actively out of work because of COVID, so I could help with the marketing campaign. But something with just a simple signage to get people excited. There's going to be people out there that are going to just want to do it.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah. Okay. And I agree. I think toys kind of pulls at my heartstrings a little, but logistically, it doesn't, if we had more time and I had thought of this a couple months ago, maybe, but okay, great. So we need to make a couple kind of quick and fast decisions, it sounds like. I think we mostly seem to agree that food is the best route to take here. Do we want to offer it up to the whole city to say who wants to be a drop-off yard, or do we want to kind of rein that in and do a few of us, if we're in separate areas of the city, want to do that? Or what, Joe, you're shaking your head, so say it out loud. You're muted.
Just share it on like the Richfield community page. Just say, hey, we want to help people that are in need. Here are, if we can, I don't know if it's an option. We have signs at this location. Swing by. We'll give them to you. And then make sure you tell us where you're located. And then we can create a map that we update, let's say every 2-3 days on social media.
Yeah,
I like this idea. Yeah.
I don't really have a budget for signs right now. I think the simplest thing we could do in-house is literally just a laminated sign that I could staple gun to laugh, that people could pick up, at the community center. I could leave them outside the door, like in a bucket. And if people wanted to put them next to like a Rubbermaid tote to gather food, and then potentially I could work with John, to do a post, like if you want to become a house that's collecting food, we could post a map and people could email him like the address of their location,
Right.
something like that.
So,
Yeah.
So how about if we create some community focused kind of template that most people have printers, right? Or if they're willing to help, they'll go to, FedEx down by the hub or whatever and get something printed, right? So why not just do like a template that shows the Richfield, I don't know, logo branding, and then just have some sort of hashtag on it that says help others or food drop off or whatever.
Yeah. And we could maybe say put it in your front window, and that way everyone knows kind of where to look.
Yeah, and then just and then they can put out a bin or something.
People may get creative with the sign too, but just kind of give them some parameters.
Yeah. And we could say, put this sign in your front window, but feel free to make another sign as well, or display or whatever. So,
Heather, do you know with Veep, is it easiest if they collected the food, if we set a deadline, let's say like December 22nd, and you need to have it brought to Veep, is there a location people can bring it to, or is that something they would pick up or?
So it sounds like if we want to officially register a food drive with Veep, we would need to likely coordinate all of this so that everyone's dropping the food off, at my place or at one location on one day, so that I can do or a couple of us can do like a master, drop off. So that's kind of the deal. If we want to actually officially say, yeah, we're going to do a Veep food drive, because we know that Veep does benefit Richfield quite a bit. But yeah, like I said, if that's what we're going to do, we have to register it. We have to coordinate so that we're not, every person who has a sign in their yard, wouldn't necessarily go to Veep separately. They would either like let somebody know to pick up all this food or drop it off with 1 or 2 people to do an official food drive drop off at Veep.
Is there a city truck we could use to haul this stuff?
Thank you. I was just wondering.
Or is there a city truck that's not being used? We could park in the community center parking lot and fill the truck.
We have a truck at the nature center, but I mean, it is used. If it was like have all your donations to the outside the community center by December 22nd, we could organize having the truck there to go deliver it then.
Okay. What about people who would like to be a collection point but don't drive, can't deliver it to wherever? Could a few of us volunteer to go pick stuff up and take it to wherever the truck is, community center, nature center, whatever we wanted to assemble?
Yeah, I think we'll just need to make sure that we plan maybe like the night before, and then the next, I would be happy, to help with that for sure.
I can too.
Veep,
My husband would. We have 2 cars that could.
I believe Veep will pick stuff up also.
Okay.
So I was just saying, Joe, when you stepped out, if we want to do this as an official city food drive, we would. What I was reading was that we would need to have like one kind of master drop off for them.
If everybody collected it, like at Joe's house or Heather's or wherever people want to register the drop-offs, and if they brought it to the community center at a specific date and time, like I could organize the truck and the drop-off. That I could do. I mean, it's just hard with COVID. Like our staff isn't there, the building's closed. But if we picked a date and time, like, that Tuesday from 9 to 11, everything needs to be brought there or something. I could work with a time frame and a date, make sure we have somebody there.
I don't. If you have people that are willing to do the work to collect food, I think they're willing to get that to Veep. It's not that far away. Yes, I get there's people that don't have cars and stuff, but maybe we give that as an alternative option. But I don't think you need to put that logistic plan in place. I think, if we just give them the idea of, hey, help out your community. This is how you can do it. And this is where you deliver it. I think 90% of people will probably be able to do that. If they're not, then you just put a note at the bottom saying, if you're not able to deliver it to Veep, then let us know. Contact us at this, and then we can do it. I don't think you need to overblow it. Well,
the thing we're saying is if it's going to be kind of like a city publicized thing, then we would want to do a little bit more coordination. And the other aspect of that too is, and this is just kind of and you guys kind of tell me if you think this is completely unnecessary, but I know it can be kind of cool to be like, we donated X pounds or this, whatever, so that would be kind of cool, but that's of course kind of a superfluous, thing. But we also, Lisa had mentioned too, if a couple of us are willing to do some pickups and things like that, which she and I have already said we're happy to do, that's not, I don't think it's a major coordination, but I see your point too. But Amy, I mean, what are your thoughts? I guess if we're doing this kind of, what do you think here? Do we need to have it kind of be, would you prefer for this to be more of a like city registered thing, or if the city's going to kind of help promote it? What are your thoughts on that?
I think we'd like to promote it. I think it's something we could, one of our charges is to create that sense of community. Like, we're in this together. We can help each other out, and our neighbors that may be having a hard time putting food on their tables, which we know is the case, because there's so many families through Ridgeville Public Schools that are getting lunches and dinners and breakfasts now, even parents. If we can help with that, I think we can definitely help organize. I hear what Joe is saying, hear what Heather is saying, and also maybe what Veep is saying. Like, if we want to officially register, I can work with John to, put it out there on the city page, and you can share it to the community page. If you are a family that would like to put a Rubbermaid tote out, here's a template you can print and put in your window. You can come pick up a sign at the community center to put out next to your tote. We can add you to a map that you're a house that's collecting food. Have it dropped off, this date, this time. If you can't, when you tell us your address for the map, let us know. And we have some people, and now I can ask maybe Lisa or Heather or Joe or whoever to maybe go out and get some. It would be kind of neat to see how much as a community we can get, even if that means taking a couple truckloads. It'd be pretty awesome to see this. I feel like the community does a good job rallying around things when they do.
It's a big community thing. I think it'd be important to have an end to it. Say, here's what we did together.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot better than saying, put out a tote and take it over to Veep.
Yeah. Heather, could you find out from Veep what would be a good end date so they could distribute food, if they want to get it to families before the Christmas holiday? If it's like Sunday, December 20th or whatever works with them. And if there's anything we need to fill out as far as forms or anything.
Yeah. Joe, do you have more to say here?
I was just wondering, at the tail end of this, what would be good for our community is that it's not only good for us to know the numbers, but to let the metro area know about what we've done.
Yeah.
So maybe reach out to a news network and a reporter to tell the story.
I would love
The
that.
current and the Star Trib would be great. I was just thinking too on our Facebook post that you guys could share. We usually don't do anything on a community page, but you could share it. But we can also encourage businesses to get involved. If you're a Richfield business or homeowner, you come get a sign, come print a sign, put a Rubbermaid tote out and collect food. Even a box, like just something that will withstand weather, I guess.
So whom would list? So actually, I'm not doing my collection this year that I usually do. But my niece, who lives down in Apple Valley, her and her best friend missed that I didn't do that. And so they started their own and they did a Facebook post and stuff. And they listed, like, they asked the school teachers, like, what was needed. So it would be good to have a list of, like, most needed items. And not only for people, but maybe for pets, like dog food or cat food or, stuff like that. So don't discount, that kind of stuff.
So there's a lot of info on Veep, and you guys probably can't see this because, of course, the glare. But but I have it on my screen right now. But they do have that information. So the nice thing kind of about, partnering with them is that we've already got a lot of this info here, and we can kind of, I'm sure they're happy, letting us use some of that too. I can make a call. I have kind of been playing phone tag with a woman over there, and so I can call her tomorrow and touch base with her on this a little bit more. They may also have some signage.
Just follow up with me, Heather, and then I can work with you to kind of draft a post and kind of get it organized.
Great.
Heather, to the point of signage, I think Veep actually offers signage.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I was just saying. They've got some like templates that you can print and stuff. I like your idea though, Joe. I think if I get a burst of ambition on a weekend here, maybe I'll try to, make a bigger, sign with a piece of wood if my son will spare one of his car ramps.
We
for a
could
couple
make a
months.
collage of that and post it and just say, hey, create your own sign kind of deal too, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
People can share photos
people are
of their-
looking for stuff to do
Mhm.
because they're at home. So if you show, that isn't the fanciest sign in the world. That's me with a permanent marker and my mom painting a goofy turkey and the kids have their hands on there and a Veep sign.
Yep.
And that's all it is. So, maybe that's an idea. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I love it. I think that's awesome.
All right, so where do we stand with this right now? I know Art needs to leave at 8. A couple of action items we have to get to. Let's
Okay.
get to those
Yes.
before he needs to go.
Okay.
Should we double back on this, or are we good for now on?
I think we're good for now. I think if Heather gets
Yep.
more details, we can coordinate. I can send out an email to everyone and just say this is where we've landed, and
Mhm.
look for the social media post, share it with your neighbors, and make sure it gets on the community page, and then we can kind of go from there.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I really appreciate this idea and this effort. I think it's going to be another way we can create community in the next 6 weeks when I think people need it the most.
Yeah. Thank you guys. It's just, yeah, it's like made my night to hear how many people have awesome thoughts and ideas and stuff. So thank you. Okay.
It's a great idea, Heather. Thank you.
We can skip over Lisa.
Let's
The
just skip
next one
to
is
the, yeah.
Ice Arena, and I kind of already did that update, so let's skip over that.
Okay.
And then expiring terms is the last thing.
Okay.
People that have terms on our commission that expire at the end of the year, it's Ann, Art, Joe. We also had Dan resign. So we'll have, some people that can, reapply, and that announcement will be coming out to reapply for another term for the commission. And then we'd also have a vacancy if people would like to apply. So if you know people that would, enjoy being on the commission, we can encourage people to apply.
Heather?
Quickly, and I would like to stay on this commission, but I do feel that I should say, I thought that I was here as one of the really, for some weird reason, 1 year. I just felt like I should mention that. I would like to be here longer, so I don't shoot myself in the foot here. But I don't know, Amy, if that's something that you're privy to, or we can mention that offline as well.
Okay.
I know standards are 3 years, but they wanted to stagger. So
Heather, you're correct. Actually, I missed that. Your term is expiring at the end of January as well. So, I'll send out the applications to you and Joe,
Okay.
and let's see, and Art.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for catching that.
Say, John, is the last meeting the January meeting for this term?
Right. Yeah. So you'll be the term goes through January.
So I'm usually traveling in January, so I'm hoping to do that again this year, depending on COVID. So this may be my last meeting, and I'm not going to do another term as I've done 2 in a row. So.
Oh, okay. You're not reapplying, huh?
No, I've done 2 in a row, so I need a break.
Oh.
Well, thanks for all you've done, Art.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Art.
for
Appreciated.
your time.
Yep.
We will miss you.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, so then on to our action items, the Roundup campaign.
Yeah, so I sent out a brief report. I did want to follow up, and hopefully everyone's had some time to read the executive summary. If you're new to the commission or haven't thought about it in the last year or gone to the liquor stores, we do have a program when you check out at the liquor store. They may remember to ask you to round up to the nearest dollar, and then every week it gets tabulated, but the roundup funds go into different campaigns. And so just so everyone knows, since it started, we have raised $31,837.18. Just a little over 19,000 went to the inclusive playground. We had just 5,750 go to bus scholarships for students to go to Wood Lake from schools that are like our Ridgeville Public Schools. And we had close to $6,700 rounded up for the dog park. And we've been doing the dog park for a while. We haven't been hammering the program that hard, really, because there's a lot of extra stress on our liquor store staff with COVID right now. But we're going to kind of switch campaigns and breathe some life into the program. And we're looking at starting this weekend, start of the holiday week, and go through the end of the year. So it would include New Year's Eve. And we typically can raise quite a bit of money during this holiday season. But the focus would be raising money for skis and snowshoes at Wood Lake. And the equipment is getting pretty old and beat up. It's definitely a good time to get some new stuff. I think it's going to be in high demand this winter too, with people wanting to get out. And
Do we have a source to buy more?
What?
Do we have a source to buy more? These are tough to find right now.
Yeah, that part of it I don't know. But hopefully we can find somewhere that has some skis and snowshoes. The other piece is at the beginning of the year, we've been kind of looking at doing quarterly campaigns. We'd like to focus on raising funds to get kind of all-terrain wheelchairs at Wood Lake. And there's a couple really cool companies that are making wheelchairs that the person sitting in them can get through mud, can get through snow. And this would help with better access to people with disabilities to experience nature and get out in the winter. So it's not just half of the year, it would be 12 months out of the year. We're looking at some different models. None of them are cheap. And I have a staff doing research on some different models that I was hoping to have come to the January meeting and just kind of share with the group what these chairs are all about. I think the campaign, not only could we raise funds, but just also awareness about the challenges of, mobility in nature in terms of wheelchairs. So I guess that's what we would vote on if those campaigns are okay with everybody.
And Joe has a question.
Two questions is first, by Lake Nokomis and even at Veterans Park, we have a third party that has those bikes, like those 4-person bikes.
Yeah.
Somebody that's handicapped isn't going to probably be by themselves. There'd be somebody else with them that could power something like that. Would there be any interest in bringing in that vendor to Wood Lake and cheapen that cost and say, hey, here's a business opportunity for you, and have an area for them to be able to rent those out? Or are you thinking something different?
Well, we don't allow bicycles. Is that kind of what you're thinking? Like bicycles? Yeah, we don't allow bicycles at Wood Lake. That's just part of the rules. It's really kind of more seen as like a nature preserve. So the model that we were looking at, I don't know all the details. I don't believe it's motorized. It has special wheels and almost like a joystick type thing that maneuvers the chair. We can do more of a report out in January. But yeah, we don't allow bikes.
Okay.
Typically, I've seen them with it, and they've got like tracks, like a construction vehicle might have, but obviously smaller. Rather than wheels like a bike or a standard wheelchair.
I could do some research. One of the coolest things that I've done was up in Alexandria, Minnesota. There was a nature area where I could get a my wife and I went on a dog sledding kind of tour, and the benefits and the revenue that he made went to special needs people too. So that could be a program to think about.
Yeah.
But the other point that I wanted to bring up was with the liquor stores and rounding up and everything. I have been to, some of the spots, and there's people that don't mention it and there's people that do. And do we do any sort of advertising on the TVs that we have?
We do. So John, sent the liquor store director our slide today that will go into the queue of information that goes up. We can get some stuff on social media. Like if you go to the liquor store, if you see that, maybe you can post it on the community page.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of people that would do that just because it's, booze related and whatever. But would there be
I'll
any,
share it if I see the post.
are there any ideas on rewarding cashiers that raise the most amount of money? I mean, I've worked retail in the past, and if you give some sort of reward, you're going to get a much better ROI out of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so far the liquor store director has definitely recognized them. He's told me like such and such a person raised this much. That's a good idea. Maybe we can look at getting a gift card, like the person over the holidays that raises the most gets a gift card at Target or something like that. That's a good idea, Joe.
Or local roots.
Our local roots, yes. Yep.
It doesn't have to be much, but it's like,
Just a little incentive to remember to ask is good.
Yeah, I mean, just say, hey, get a free meal or something.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I like that idea. Thank you.
Okay, so we're ready for a motion?
So moved? Will that work?
Sure.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? All right, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
All right. Good. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, Art.
See you,
Thank
Art.
you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Goodbye, Art. Thank you.
I have to leave early, so sorry.
Take care.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Art.
See y'all.
All right, so our other action item is canceling our December meeting. Seems to make sense. It's kind of a common thing.
Yeah. Heather, so moved.
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
In favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, it's canceled. So then on to our committee reports. Amy, have we finished all the discussion items?
Yeah.
We covered all that? Okay, so we're all good there. All right. All right, then on to our committee reports. Transportation, Kevin. Any report?
Transportation had nothing to do, so they canceled their November meeting.
It's a big traffic jam. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Foul Board, Stephanie. Any news from them?
They're going to postpone their Costa Rica trip. It was supposed to be like next year in 2021, but they're postponing it to 2022. Also, I guess they got a sculpture that was reinstalled by like the Heredia, I'm probably saying that I don't know if I said that right, room at the city hall. And so I guess they must do art, but they weren't able, like other art, but they weren't able to do that too because of the pandemic. So that's all I know. Yeah. They're doing elections, I guess, too, and then they canceled their meeting for next month too. So
Okay.
okay.
That was Friendship City, right? So do we have anything for the fall board? Amy, do you know anything?
That's all I got from their
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
I don't have a lot. We did have a new person apply to the foul board, so we'll bring that to this commission for review for January.
Okay. All right. Planning. David.
It was a small agenda. They had one variance for a air conditioner, but there was a lively discussion on some language that they use in their meetings. But
Yes.
not much to report.
Okay.
Fun
Arts
watch.
Commission.
If anybody has an hour, it's a fun watch.
No, it was horrible. Arts Commission, I know Art isn't there, but they're going to do their annual report this coming Tuesday at the council meeting, and they'll be, talking about the poetry that went in. We spruced up the poems. We painted the ones on Portland this fall. So if you walk down Portland, you should be able to read those pretty easy. We have a couple new art pieces that will be going in. One by the bank on 66 in Lindale that's being built. I think it's a Chase Bank. And then there's another installation at the apartment complex, kind of on the south side of 66, over by Cedar there. I forget what it's called, but they have
Chamberlain.
The Chamberlain's putting in a piece of art that's kind of seconds as a bench. Yeah, that's it.
They're creating a new brochure for all the sculpture in the city.
Yes.
I've been photographing all of that for them. So
Oh, nice.
that's in the works too.
That would be nice. And I think Stephanie did Friendship
Okay, we
City.
got that one. So Heather, sustainability?
Yes. So this always is, a lot of times these are the same weeks and theirs is 2 days in 2 days. So
Okay.
this seems like old news by the time I update you guys. So I apologize if any of this already is not news to you. The last city council meeting on 10/13, which I think there now has been another, but these are my notes from theirs. There was a city council meeting on 10/13, and they officially approved the climate action plan. So that's really exciting. That's been a huge, to do, and really their biggest and kind of first big thing. If you know anyone on that commission, virtually high five them. So let's see here. There was, talk at the last couple meetings about the tree by Lunds, which did end up coming down, but was also pretty rotted inside. And but that kind of spurred a conversation about tree preservation and how we want to address that in the future in the city. It sounds like they have discovered that there's already a group within the city looking into that, comparing what other cities do. So I think they'll have some more news and possibly more input on that in the future, and I'll keep you guys updated on that. I think their goal right now is to kind of brainstorm, discuss it further in the next couple meetings. So now they're really going to be ramping up to talk more about organized collection, which is a bit of a hot button issue, I know, for some. If you read the community page, you will know that. If you don't, good for you.
Do you want me to explain where we're at with it, Heather?
Yes, that would be great.
So last Tuesday, I did a work session with the council. So everybody's on the same page with organized collection. We really focused on the why. Like, why would the city want to go through? Obviously, it's a contentious issue, but there are so many positive outcomes. It was just on referendum at the last election in Bloomington, and just over 70% of the residents who've been involved with organized collection voted to keep it. So we are seeing, people that have been involved with the new process are in favor of it after having it in place for a while. We also brought a resolution to council at the council meeting after the work session to officially start the process. And by starting it, it doesn't mean that's what we're doing. It just means you need to have an official start to even, get the process off the ground. So we passed that resolution. Monday, the 23rd, we do have a special council meeting. I'm meeting with the haulers. We have 3 main haulers that will be there, and we are going to be doing a very similar presentation, like the why of why our city wants to do it, the process and what it could potentially look like, and then, how we'll negotiate with them. We've also launched a new web page on the city's website that has a lot of good information, a lot of FAQs. Some of the concerns, we've been jotting them down that we've seen on the community page on our own website, our webpage, and we've been getting emails and calls. People have really good questions, and I think if people went to the webpage and read the information, a lot of concerns would be addressed for people. I think throughout the whole process, our goals are to be inclusive, transparent, try to have as many community members involved with the process as possible. And, just to reiterate, just because we're starting, because you have to start somewhere, doesn't mean that's what the end, what we'll be doing. But from an equity standpoint, from also a standpoint of saving residents money, a lot of environmental and sustainability goals, it makes sense right now for our community. We also have state goals, we have county mandates, and we have our own city goals that this helps address. So it is a county mandate that every single city in Hennepin County by 2022, every resident has curbside organics collection. So we have a year to get something done. So.
Does that mean by the beginning of 2022, right? Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Just want to make sure I understand that.
A year. There is a state statute that, of course, we'll be following. It's like a legal set of steps to follow through the process. And we'll also be sending out a postcard to people. We're working on it right now. They'll get mailed out. We're going to be doing some learning and listening sessions. We'll have a translator. We're also going to be putting them on the cable access channel.
I'm busy. You can sit with me.
If they can attend, we'll post.
We'll do a video game after my meeting's done.
Questions and just get more information. We can hear from residents what they're concerned about, and hopefully address some of the concerns people have.
Or if Dad's done with Rena's bedtime.
So that's the plan. So it's kind of, we're just kicking off the process, I would say.
Joe?
Do we have the opportunity, and do you think it's a good idea that we link on the Richfield site to the Minnesota, unemployment agency stuff? Because I'm unemployed right now. I've been a professional for 12, 13 years, B2B sales. And I've actually found some of the content that they have provided has been beneficial. So I don't know if we want to play that game or not, but I just thought, you have all the boxes on your main page of pay your water bill or whatever. If you added, employment opportunities or something, and it could help people be more active in their job searches. Just an idea. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I think John is involved with the city's launching a new website. And I think even like this week, and each department's kind of working on their aspect of it. But I'm hopeful that it's a little more user friendly, like the jobs page jumps out at people so they can see where to apply, where to search.
It's it's not only about jobs that the city can provide, but training and resources that people that are looking for jobs can utilize. And promoting that, like maybe once a month, just say, hey, I would even jump in and do a webinar, and anybody that's interested in finding a job, say, here's the resources that are available. They won't cost you anything, or whatever. This is how you should do it. I've been in the HR business for 12 plus years selling software. So, and I'm struggling over the last 6 months to even find jobs. So I can only imagine what people that don't know how to navigate, how to match your resume to a job description, to get through the applicant tracking system, to get an interview and go through that process is. So I don't know if we want to add that to the agenda or take that on right now, but I just wanted to throw it out there. Go ahead, Heather.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think this is a good idea, and it has to start somewhere. But I think, even if it kind of gets wrapped up with, like you have kind of mentioned, Amy, some things kind of, obviously, the holidays might be a tougher time to look at this stuff, but maybe that could be a mini set of courses that are offered, who knows, bye, David. For free, or if people are willing to volunteer to do things like that. And then, like you said, Joe, even if it's just a place people can gather, do virtual Q&As and things like that, because I mean, it's tough for those of us who know how to use computers and know how to look at LinkedIn and that kind of thing. But yeah, I think mental health wise, and in some other areas too, it can be grinding, and even just to know you've got a support system, definitely makes a difference. So I like that idea. I think that's a.
And I don't know the rules or regulations about partnering with people, but even if it was a third party recruitment agency that we would promote on the site to help people in Richfield to get new positions, or to gain access to new education, because there's sites out there that are free that you can educate yourself, or there are sites that will scan your resume, compare it to 3 different jobs, and tell you what you're doing right or wrong. And if it's a recruitment agency, they'll be willing to do that, probably at no cost, because they're going to make money on hires if they go through them. So I don't know. I just an idea.
I can bring that idea. Now is a good time because they're redoing their website. I can bring that idea to communications department and HR. They work side by side. I can ask them about it. It's a good idea, though.
Do you know who we're using for the ATS right now? The applicant tracking system? Is it homegrown?
I don't, but I think it's called AppleTrack. Maybe John remembers. It's been so long since I've used it, but I thought it was AppleTrack, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, that's right. AppleTrack. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe. Yeah. If you guys want any I've done that for 12 years, is review applicant tracking systems in that process. So if you need any input, let me know. I'm going to go on the website tonight and just go through the process and see how smooth it is or not. But I may have recommendations if you want them.
Okay.
All right, that brings us to the bottom of our agenda. Any other questions, comments?
I want to say thank you, Lisa, for your report at the council meeting last week.
That's right.
You did a really nice job, so thank you.
Thank you. And the council asked me to pass along to all of you their accolades for all that we've done over the past year in a difficult time. They appreciate all we've been able to pull off. All right, so with the cancellation of December, our next meeting will be in January 19th, 7 o'clock. I think we're there.
Yeah, have a good rest of the year, and I'll be in communication with Heather and everybody about the food drive. I really appreciate everyone's work this year, and reach out if you need anything.
Thank you, Amy. You've done a great job too.
Thank you all. Yeah.
Hopefully I make it to the next meeting if I get reelected here.
Well, you'll be here for
Oh, yeah,
January
same.
anyway. That's still part of your term.
Yeah, that's the last one.
Right.
So go
So
to that. It'll be better for your reelection. Same.
All right.
Have a good night, all.
Thanks, everybody.